Let's compare the Spot Gen 4 to the Motorola Defy. They're completely different devices. They're about the same size, but there's some really big differences you need to know about. First of all, on the size, you can see width and height wise are about the same. The Motorola is half of the thickness. Very small device. This actually is probably the cheapest device on the market and might have the cheapest subscription. The Spot Gen 4 is probably the next cheapest on the market. And the biggest thing here is this is a one-way satellite communicator. Spot Gen 4, one way only. The Motorola Defy is a two-way satellite communicator. Now I've got issues with both of them. And first of all is being a one-way satellite communicator. However, if you don't have a lot of money, get one of these. Get it on your pack. It may not have all the bells and whistles that the Garmin GPS Map 67i has, but at least you'll have a way to communicate with search and rescue teams or let them know where you're at. And then you can also send a check-in message. So let's talk about the Spot Gen 4 first. It is a one-way satellite communicator, and you can send out some custom check-in messages that you would set up ahead of time at home. Underneath this flap right here, you can make that a custom check-in message. It's also for automotive incidents, accidents, or where you break down. You can pay for an additional service and you can select that and they will come out and give you automotive help, whatever you need. And then this one here, you can make a custom message. Now, I made both of these custom messages, and I think this one here, I said, I'm not in a life-threatening situation, but I need help. And then this one here is a check-in, like, I'm fine, everything's great, I'm gonna be late though. And then you have a check-in here, and then you have a tracking button here that you can start or stop tracking. The power button's on the top here, and then there's some lights, a power button light, and then this is showing that a message was sent. And then on the back, you got these screws, you got 4 AAA batteries, and you can put rechargeable batteries in, but these batteries will last at least a month, probably 2 months or so. And then also the USB-A, USB-C-A, whatever it is, connection is inside this, so that if you need to update anything, software, that's where you would get to it. Simple device, real small, about the size of a wallet of somebody who has a lot of money, and that's not me, but it's easy to use. You will not get confused by it. Unlike the Garmin GPS Map 67i, some people get confused by that because there's so much. This you won't, and it gives you the ability to contact SOS and to send one-way messages and to have the tracking. And so family and friends can see where you're at, because then if you let them know, put them in your contacts list to be able to see your tracks, then they will be able to see where you're at. So it's a really great device. If you don't have a lot of money and you just want to be able to contact search and rescue and for some people to know where you're at, this is a really good device. If you don't want to communicate with anybody, and for some of you I understand that because sometimes you just want to be left alone, this might be your answer. Okay, the Motorola Defy, it's really small, it's really inexpensive, and it has a really cheap subscription plan. It's a good device. I'm not going to say it's a great device because honestly, sorry Motorola, I don't like this device that well. Chris, the hiking guy, he likes it more than I do. If you want to see him talk about how great it is, you can go over to his site. I'll leave a link in the description below. But I've been out and I've tested this thing and I've had a few issues. But let's talk about the device real fast. It's really thin, super small, and it actually goes up to a higher orbit satellite, but there's less of them. And they're in the south part, at least in the North America here, they're south. So if you want to have the best reception, you need to point this to the south, okay? If you point it to the north or it's behind something, you may not have as good a reception. So there's a power button here on the side, and there's a check-in button down here. There's a few lights on the screen, and one that shows that you've got connection to the satellite, and then the check-in, and then over here is the SOS. So if you select that within about 3 seconds, or you push that, then it's going to send a message out to the search and rescue center. This is a super small device, and right here is the USB-C port, I believe it is, and so that's where you would download information, and it's where you charge. It's been a while since I've used this, so I guarantee that's probably where you charge that. All right, that's enough of that. I don't sound so intellectual and smart right now. I just don't use this very much because I don't like it, because I field tested it, and I don't mean to be this way. I'm sorry. I normally don't like to come out so aggressively against a device. But what happened when I started using this, I was testing it, and I was in an office, and I had a huge window, and it was facing south. And so I put it in the window, and I was trying to get the satellite to see where it was at, to just test it. It wouldn't. It would not see where it's at. So I'm thinking there's a problem. So then I contacted the Motorola technical support, and we talked about it, and they said, yes, you probably need to go outside, and then you need to face it to the south. And so when I did that, then it did get reception. So, okay, that worked. But I didn't like it when every other device I have, when I put it in a big window, it will get reception. It will see the satellites. This one did not. The other thing that happened when I was out on a field test, when I was in the cities with cell service, everything seemed to be working fine. As soon as I left and got outside of cell service, things started messing up. Now here in Colorado, there's a lot of big mountains, and so when I was driving to the north. I had this in the dash of my truck, and so not only was I driving north, but it was only getting the north part of the sky, and then there's big mountains around, and I started getting spotty reception. Some of the messages I sent and I was tracking, it wasn't working as well as it should have worked. It was just inconsistent results, and I'm not real happy about that, because when I'm using a satellite communicator, I'm doing it for emergency purposes. I want my family and friends to be able to see where I'm at, but again, it's in case something happens. And if I'm having some situations with my satellite communicator and it does best if it's facing south, not as good if it's facing north, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be ranting about this, but I don't like this device. Here's what's good about the device though. If you don't have anything and you don't have a lot of money, then this is at least something to be able to contact those SOS search and rescue centers, and also to be able to two-way message, and you can sync it with your smartphone, and you can see your maps, and you can two-way message on your smartphone. But again, if you're not synced, you can't two-way message, but at least you can send the SOS out. This is similar to the Spot Gen 4 to me, and that is, if you don't have a lot of money, at least have something on your pack. Personally, I like the Spot Gen 4 over the Motorola because it's more consistent in my testing than the Motorola Defy. This channel is all about being honest with you and field testing things and telling you what I find out. And sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm out here a lot testing these, and so I want you to get a real feel or a sense of whether this is the right communicator for you. Okay, so have I given it away? Which one I like best? Even though this is a two-way messenger, I would still take the Gen 4 over this one. Now, if you're really big into two-way messaging, you may want this one. And if Chris and I were talking, you know, Chris the hiking guy, and if we were talking, he would be doing a pretty good job probably convincing me why this is better than I'm giving it credit for. All right, so again, check his channel out if you want to see a different type of review, because he does like this better than I do. But the Spot Gen 4 is really good for if you don't like to communicate or don't need to, and you just want to be able to hit the SOS button and to send some check-ins. This is great, and it's not very much money. The Motorola is a two-way messenger, and the satellite's at a higher orbit. It may have some better accuracy, and it's just good to have something just like the Spot Gen 4. But as you've seen, I've kind of probably talked you out of getting this. I apologize. I apologize specifically to Motorola. Probably never going to send me one of these for free to test unless it's a better one. Well, there you go. My opinions on satellite communicators. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, or you want to disagree with me about what I've said specifically about the Motorola, leave a comment below. I engage you guys all the time, and I love to talk with you. Thanks for joining me here in Colorado at Outdoor Emergency Tech, and I'll see you back out here in the next video.